afternoon, my friends. This is Ironworks MTG, and today we're going to be playing Jund as per usual, but with a little bit of a twist. We've got help from Grimflayer MTG's Discord. So if you guys haven't checked out Grimflayer MTG, it's another YouTube channel focused primarily on mid-range. So if you're a big Jund fan, if you're a GBX fan, if you're an Abzan fan, if you're a mid-range fan at all, if you like Magic the Gathering, you should subscribe to his channel. I'll leave a link in the description below. So I'm one of his Patreons, and that grants me the privilege of being in his Discord. So what you're going to be seeing today is a replay of me streaming in the Discord with the guys in the Discord helping me out with some lines, at least for most of it. So I've got to give credit where credit's due. Those guys helped me out with this league a lot up until about round 4, where I had a little bit of technical issue on my end and I wasn't able to hear them anymore. But regardless, those guys are great and they were able to help us out. So shout out to them. And let's do a quick little deck tech. Not a lot to talk about. Pretty stock list. I've been off Assassin's Trophy for a while. I just don't believe in it anymore. We're not playing Kroxa today. We're going to be playing Scavenging Ooze and Seasoned Pyromancer in the flex spots. We're playing 3 Cleansing Wildfires over Pillage. There's a little bit of debate on whether or not we should be playing this card. I'm a huge advocate of it. I think this card's crazy good. I think we should be playing 3 or 4 easy. But yeah, let's just get into the gameplay. And if you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to me too. But definitely subscribe to Grimflayer MTG. Alright guys, here we are for round 1, match 1 of our league here. And we've got a pretty solid keepable hand here. We've got Bolt, Thoughtseize. Which one we use is going to depend on how our opponent sequences. We've got Wrenn and Six coming down on turn 2 to generate some card advantage. We've got Raging Ravine as an okay threat in the late game, and Terminate to deal with a threat if we need to. So we're going to keep. Our opponent's going to play a beautiful Guru Island, I believe that's Guru, right? Into a Monastery Swiftspear. He's going to attack us for 1. So now I'm getting a little worried about our hand. Thoughtseize doesn't line up with these decks very well. Especially if it's a more traditional burn deck. So here we're just gonna bolt. Feels a little bad to take 2, but we gotta take our medicine. We can't let him get those Prowess triggers off. And yeah, part of the reason I thought this hand was bad, initially my thought about this Wrenn and Six in hand was that it's not gonna have very many ping targets, but it ends up doing a lot of work because opponent does the best thing that they could do, at least for us, which is hit this cast an Abbot of the Carol Keep, and Manamorphose, which cannot be cast. And yeah, we're just gonna fetch for a forest here, take as little damage as possible. Play this Wrenn and Six. We're gonna ping this Abbot. Now we do run the risk of them playing like Mutagenic Growth or Gut Shot or something, and kind of blowing us out. But even then, even if they did do that, which they do not, it's better to force them to take those actions on our turn as opposed to their turn, where they can get off a bunch of Prowess triggers and hit us for a lot of damage. I'm not sure if any of the decks that play Abbot, which we see another of, by the way, would play a card like Mutagenic Growth, but regardless, that is the risk we ran. Our opponent hits a Beaumont Courier, which he casts, and he's going to hit the Wrenn and Six. So with this Wrenn and Six doing a lot of work, a lot more work than I initially expected it to. It's taking hits, threatening things, and oh, sorry, I'll slow down here to talk about this turn for a moment. This forest really making our turn awkward. I would have liked to be able to Inquisition plus Terminate and ping something with the Wrenn. Unfortunately, we just can't do all those things. So the line that we decide to take, and I say we as in we discussed this in the Discord, is we're going to pick up this Wooded Foothills, discard the Thoughtseize and the Raging Ravine, The reason we're discarding the Raging Ravine is because we can always pick it back up, and also we may need to play an untapped land next turn. So we're going to try to protect this Wrenn and Six, see if we could do a little bit more work by putting the Seasoned Pyromancer into play, drawing some fresh new cards, and discarding our bad ones. So we hit another Seasoned Pyromancer into Liliana, fairly reasonable, and we pass back. Now, I think that our line was good, but we get max punished. Opponent plays Crash Through, which is going to allow him to hammer through our team and take out this Wrenn and Six. So he serves Abbott at Wrenn and Six. I am a little worried about blocking or double blocking or making any manner of block, because we would just get blown out by like a lava dart or something. So here we just let the Wrenn and Six go. But he did do a ton of work. He killed an Abbott, bought back a land, and just absorbed 3 damage. So pretty happy with it. The opponent plays the third Abbott, hits a dart, and we have Maelstrom Pulse. Pretty sweet. We're going to start here by fetching for a swamp. We're going to Inquisition the opponent. We'll let them keep the lava dart and take the Metamorphose. And here we just take our 2-for-1 Pulse. And I'm not 100% sure looking back now if this was correct, but we do serve with the Seasoned Pyromancer. I maybe should have held that back to block the Beaumont Courier, because we know that our opponent has a lava dart in hand. So yeah, they've got lava dart, Bedouin Reveler. And the big discussion point here was, how do we deal with this Bedouin Reveler? Because it is going to draw cards, and it is going to wreak havoc. So opponent plays a Light Up the Stage, revealing Sunbait Canyon, Mountain, plays the Mountain. And yeah, like I said, the big discussion point here was this Bedouin Reveler and this Beaumont Courier and them running away with the game. And this was a big misplay. I was so laser focused, I'll take responsibility for this one, so laser focused on getting rid of this thing. I'm like, alright, I'm just going to jam the Lily, I'm going to plus it, get this Reveler out of hand, protect the Lily, and then minus the Beaumont Courier later. Forgot that Fiery Islet has text. So punt, no other way around it, just big punt. We discard a Seasoned Pyromancer. He's going to discard Lava Dart, which is pretty good discard, if anything. We don't even get to rip a burn spell or anything like that. Pass back, and opponent continues to punish us. So at this point, the plan was, okay, well, we're just gonna have to terminate one thing, and then edict the other. Opponent draws a Swift Spear, neutering our ability to edict. Then draws a Bedouin Reveler, or plays the Bedouin Reveler rather, and he's gonna fire off these lava darts into our Seasoned Pyromancer, getting his the exact amount of prowess triggers he needs to take Liliana off the board. And good night, Liliana. So here we play Tarmogoyf, play the Blackcleave Cliffs, and pass the turn. There's a little tension on whether or not to use our Terminate on the Beaumont Courier or the Bedouin Reveler. Something weird happens this turn. I think this is a misplay on our opponent's part. So every great turn starts with a Metamorphose, right? Our opponent goes off this turn. So he casts Metamorphose, he gets his prowess triggers in. He's going to draw a card to replace it. He draws another Monastery Swift Spear. He's got 1 mana. He's going to Lava Dart us. He's going to flash back the Lava Dart. And then here was the weird part. Opponent attacks with the Beaumont Courier as well. My initial plan here was to just terminate, or rather, I wanted to terminate the Beaumont Courier and probably end up having to chump block the Bedouin Reveler, because we're just not going to beat the cards under the Beaumont Courier. or at least that was my thought at the time. But he serves with it. So here we get to terminate the Bedlam Reveler, block with the Tarmogoyf, who will then get to survive. We do take some damage off these Monastery Swiftspears, but the Tarmogoyf can kind of just stand there and block, or can now attack, and we've got a lot of good draws to deal with these Monastery Swiftspears. We have creatures to block with. We've got removal spells. So this turn, I decide, okay, we're gonna serve with this Tarmogoyf and flash back these Seasoned Pyromancers, or rather use their abilities to make tokens to block the Monastery Swiftspear. So yeah, I don't cast Inquisition this turn. I'll hold back the Seasoned Pyromancers, try to end this game with this Tarmogoyf as fast as possible, and our opponent just draws these Stone Cold Nuts. He may have already had it, but regardless, he casts Crash Through. He's got an additional burn spell, and that's going to be good enough to stop our tokens from being able to protect us. And that's exact damage with Trample. So that's game one for you. And big mega punt there with the Fiery Islet thing, with the Lily uptick. But the other couple plays there, the other questionable things like the Wrenn and Six not pinging, and this turn not Inquisitioning. I think that what we did was correct, and that our opponent just drew what he needed. So that's game one. We'll see you in game two. All right, guys, here we are in game two, and we brought in 3 Brutality, 1 Huntmaster, a Plague Man, a Spellbomb to try to hit their graveyard to stop Bedlam Reveler, and an Anger of the Gods in case they went wide. Also, they're playing things like Boma Courier, and the Anger can hit, is what I'm trying to say. It's very likely to hit. And we're just trying to be less clunky. We brought the Huntmaster in, so we cut the Bloodbraid. Wrenn, although it did do a lot of work there, I think that 3 of them is a lot. So we trimmed back a Wrenn and Six. We trimmed back K-Command, and the 2 Thoughtseize are obviously bad. And we also plan on playing around Blood Moon in this game, so we've cut these Lilianas. Additionally, all these 3-mana spells can be pretty clunky, so pretty reasonable cut. And believe we keep this hand. This hand's very good, actually. Fatal Push, Collective Brutality, Tarmogoyf, all excellent cards in the matchup. Maelstrom Pulse, we saw last game, did a lot of work. Can also deal with the Bedlam Reveler, which we have no other way to. So, yeah, hand's great. Hand's fire. In fact, I should not understate it. This hand is wonderful. So we play a Bloodstained Mire and pass the turn. Opponent goes turn 1, Mountain Crash Through. That is the great this is all going very well. We've got a great hand, and our opponent does basically nothing. I'm not sure why I fetched on the end step, because I did plan on grabbing the Mountain to play around Blood Moon, as discussed with the guys in the Discord. And here we go. Verdant Catacombs, grab Forest, just keep playing around Blood Moon, keeping our life total high. Play Tarmogoyf, and pass back. One goes Mountain. I believe Manamorphose. Yeah, so he's going to Manamorphose. I'm sorry, bear with me. Replay can be kind of finicky sometimes. Manamorphose into Soulscar Mage and pass back. So this is obviously great for us. We've got Fatal Push and Collective Brutality to deal with this thing. But this turn, we're just going to cash in this Collective Brutality. We've got a couple lands to pitch, so we go max value Collective Brutality, pitching these 2 lands. And we see Manamorphose, Lightning Bolt, Lava Dart. We are not afraid of this Bolt and a Lava Dart without any creatures to speak of. So we're going to take the Manamorphose, just try to keep our opponent's hand mediocre. Attack with this Tarmogoyf, pass back. Opponent plays Fiery Islet, passes back. We serve with the Goyf. In comes a Peatland and pass back. Opponent's gonna cycle here. Opponent plays main phase Crash through. Again, great sign. Drops a mountain. Passes back. We are going to cycle Peatland on the end step. Draw a second Tarmogoyf, which is great. And serve with this one. And here, I feel like this match just really highlights how great Tarmogoyf is in the matchup, because even though so they're going to remove him here, but look at the cost of removing him. So they're going to bolt him, so he eats one spell. They're going to Lava Dart him, so he eats another spell. They're going to flash back the Lava Dart, sacking a mountain, so he eats Lava Dart, Bolt, and Mountain, 3 for 1. And then boom, another Tarmogoyf. And pass back. Ugh. Sneeze is trying to escape me. I'm not going to let it. Opponent cycles their Fiery Islet. Passes back. So yeah, another turn where our opponent does nothing at all. We serve with the Goyf. Get that 4 damage in. Cast a Wrenn and Six. Wren's going to pick up Nurturing Peatland. Plays land. Passes back. And this turn's great. We attack with the Tarmogoyf. And I can't take credit for this line because I would have entirely missed it. He's going to abrade the Goyf. Tell me in the comments if you see it. He's going to abrade the Goyf. He's going to burst lightning the Goyf, trying to take it off the table. Here, we just Abrupt Decay our own Wrenn and Six. Thus, growing the Goyf. Again, just completely wasting his burn spells here. And opponent concedes to this 1000 IQ play. And we'll see you guys in Game 3. Alright guys, here we are for Game 3. And this hand sucks. This hand sucks. Well, by the way, we brought in the second Spellbomb just because we were discussing how powerful Bedlam Reveler was. So just to respect it a little further, I don't remember what we cut. Oh yeah, it was a third Lily. It was a third Lily. It just gets so much worse on the draw too, because all the creatures just did so much work at that point. So, regardless, we cut the second Lily for a Spellbomb. It's not looking so hot here. We mulligan. We don't have our mana situation's really bad in that we don't have a second red source for Seasoned Pyromancer. We don't have a green source for Ooze. Easy mull. This hand's pretty good. We've got Inquisition, double Goyf. We saw how much work Goyf did in that last matchup. Seasoned Pyromancer, Bloodbraid Elf. So we're going to bottom the Seasoned Pyromancer over the Bloodbraid Elf simply because Seasoned Pyromancer, go away. Bloodbraid Elf has a bit higher of an upside, and Seasoned Pyromancer is maybe a little better when we have things that we want to discard. I don't really want to discard any of these spells. Like, we'd probably end up discarding the Bloodbraid Elf. So here we go. Verdant Catacombs. Just still respecting Blood Moon, although we did not see it that first game. Take light up the stage and pass back. Opponent's going to hit us for 1. Ouch. Opponent casts a light up. Opponent gets lit. He finds another mountain and a Metamorphose. Passes back. We find our forest and just jam the Tarmogoyf. Not much to talk about here, so I'm just kind of clicking through. Opponent casts Metamorphose. He's going to bolt the Goyf. You know he's got Lava Dart, so goodbye Goyf. Goyf goes down. He gets in for 4. And he's going to light up the stage again. So pretty strong turn for our opponent. Although again, he did spend a lot of resources getting rid of these Tarmogoyfs. And we know his hand is just Mountain Fiery Islet. He's got Metamorphose Abrade. So here we're going to play a Tarmogoyf, play a tap land, and again, just make him spend a bunch of resources on getting this Tarmogoyf out of the way. He is effectively gaining us life. It's a 1 mana gain 5 this turn. He hits it with the Abrade. He's going to double dart it. So again, it eats, you know, a Lava Dart, a land, and an Abrade, gains us 5 life. Opponent is going to whack us for 5, but if that was any other creature, we'd have a much lower life total right now. We draw a Bolt, pretty good, but regardless, we're going to slam this Bloodbraid Elf, as the difference in our life totals really pressures us to do something quickly. We got to end this game. We hit Liliana. That's definitely one of the better cascades. We get to eat this thing and then still have a Lily on board, which is great. He's going to have to deal with it one way or another. Attack with Bloodbraid Elf and pass back. Okay, opponent casts Habit, finds Mountain. He's going to dart Lily off the board before she can do a little more damage. Okay, so we bolt the Abbot for a couple over playing Pyromancer for a couple reasons. One, we would have to take damage. We'd have to take damage that we just can't afford right now to play the Pyromancer. 2, we need to get in to apply pressure. And 3, the Abbot represents a threat that can kill us. So like 1 threat plus a burn spell is gonna put us in a pretty precarious position here. Here we do fetch, I believe, Stomping Ground. And we play Seasoned Pyromancer. Discard this Lightning Bolt, which is a little unfortunate, but we draw Bloodbraid Elf. So it's all worth it. We attack with the Bloodbraid Elf, pass back. Opponent cycles that Fiery Islet, plays another, passes back. We're going to slam this BBE. It's going to find us a Tarmogoyf, and our opponent's got to find some bolts here to kill us. He's priced into shooting the Bloodbraid Elf. Still don't feel 100% about this game, as we are at 6, and a lot of opponents' cards read deal 3 damage. So we get in with our team, we pass back, and does opponent have it? No, he does not. So, boom, that's match 1 for you. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you for match 2. Alright guys, here we are for match 2, game 1. And this hand looks really solid. We've got a turn 1 Inquisition into Wrenn and Six or Tarmogoyf. Unfortunately, we're a little land heavy, but that's okay. I will take the old 1-2 punch any day of the week. And on the draw, we do get to see an extra card. So we see our opponents on Lurrus. They're going to lead with a Mersha's Bauble. They are going to crack their Wooded Foothills. And we see a Seal of Fire on turn 1. Here we're going to Cliffs into Lightning Bolt, Lava Spike, Boros Charm. I believe here we take the Lightning Bolt. The Boros Charm does represent a little bit more damage, but Lightning Bolt's a little more flexible. Considering we have Liliana and Wrenn and Six, I just don't want them between the Bolt and the Seal of Fire to have the option of taking those things out of play. And also Boros Charm being 2 mana is kind of relevant, makes it a little worse in some windows. So we take the more flexible burn spell in Lightning Bolt and pass back. Opponent plays his Inspiring Vantage and passes back. And here we got to take big damage. And we're just going to run out of Tarmogoyf over Wrenn and Six to be able to block a top-decked creature and also to apply some pressure. But this does mean that we're taking a lot of damage. We had to fetch Shock, we get Boros Charmed. So we want to see creatures from the opponent, not burn spells, but he's got the old... he just starts unloading. He goes Boros Charm, Lava Spike. So here we just go to the races. We attack with Tarmogoyf. And as opposed to playing this Liliana, it's just a little too late. It's just not going to work out with the way that this game's working. We play Tarmogoyf, hold up this Lightning Bolt in hopes that he just plays a creature and that we can get it out of the way. He does, in fact. He plays a Monastery Swift Spear, so we get to bolt that on the end step. Have a nice mana-efficient turn. Here we're going to play Lily, and I believe we actually discard the W6. I would like to kill our opponent as fast as possible. So here we discard the W6. He hits us with a Lightning Helix, though. So this turn was, there was a little tension. We kind of talked about it a bit, but what we ended up doing, which I will take credit for, is that I only serve with one Tarmogoyf here. The second Tarmogoyf doesn't actually change the clock, and by keeping this Tarmogoyf back, we're at 3, so we die to literally every burn spell, including Lava Dart, because they've got Seal of Fire. But if they top deck a creature, we get to block the creature with the Tarmogoyf. We can edict the creature. Yeah, if they top deck creature, we win. That's our out. But unfortunately, they do find Boros Charm kill us. So that's game 1 for you. Not sure if we could have played that a little differently. I think we played it pretty tight. Let me know what you think in the comments below. All right, guys, here we are for game 2 of match 2, and we've cut all 3 Wrenn and Six. This is a little bit different of a matchup. Wrenn and Six just typically is way too slow and is not going to have any targets. So this is maybe the worst card in our deck next to, say, like Thoughtseize. So we cut the 2 Thoughtseize and the 3 Wrenn and Six and the Pulse kind of slow. Again, this deck's a little less creature heavy and more about just getting in there. We see cards like Boros Charm, we cut cards like Wrenn and Six. And we brought in a single Wildfire just for the sake of being able to cycle it. Also, they do play some utility lands. We've got 2 Spellbombs because they're playing Lurrus, 3 Collective Brutality, and a Huntmaster, pretty obvious. So, I believe we keep this. No, we have to mulligan this. That's right. Yeah, we have to mulligan this, unfortunately, because it's just not doing a lot. We need to be able to remove early threats, and Scavenging Ooze isn't actually even really good until the mid to late game. So we do mulligan this, and watch what happens. We've got a 1-lander, so we've got a mulligan again, especially on the play. So super unfortunate. We're going to have to go down to 5 here. Luckily, our 5 is pretty workable. We've got 3 sideboard cards in it. Collective Brutality, Huntmaster. We end up bottoming the Seasoned Pyromancer and the Abrupt Decay, and really just praying for really good top decks. We're gonna need them. Our opponent keeps 7, and they're playing a Companion. I know that the Companion rule was nerfed, but it does represent an 8th card in a matchup where we are on the play and we are going down 2. Additionally, Collective Brutality, a little awkward with so few cards in hand. Here, we talked about it a bit, and I was like, maybe we should wait, see if we can get full value. He plays like a creature or something, but that's not even going to work out because we can't discard our whole hand to the Brutality. So here, sadly, we're going to fetch, swamp, and just use the other 2 abilities of Collective Brutality. He's going to bolt us in response. So here we take Bolt. We reveal Helix, a double Eidolon, Arid Mesa Skullcrack. So pretty scary hand, that double Eidolon. So he plays his first Eidolon, and we've just got to do something right now to deal with it. So sadly, we're going to discard this Huntmaster, which could have got Skullcracked anyway. We're going to take, I believe, the Lightning Bolt, because it just makes it so he can't have a super mana efficient turn. He's going to have to only play 1 spell, even if he does draw his 3rd land. But we've got Tarmogoyf here, so if there's anyone who can bail us out, it's Tarmogoyf. We draw Fatal Push, so we decide to deal with the Eidolon before playing the Tarmogoyf to save us as much life as possible. We let our opponent go to combat in case they drew a hasty creature, give them the opportunity to pay life for it. He does not, so we push the Eidolon. He's going to put Lurrus back in hand, and that is not good. So we really just needed a Spellbomb here. over the Goyf. Unfortunately, overplaying the Goyf rather. Unfortunately, we don't draw it. We've got to just run out this Tarmogoyf and just a nightmare scenario. We're just going to click through here. Our opponent goes Lurrus into an Eidolon, and it's just bad. And this feels real bad. We got to just try to redraw. I just need a bolt or something to just get this Lurrus the hell off the table, or we'll never win. So we Cleansing Wildfire, take 2 for Cleansing Wildfire, and I think we just draw land here, yeah. And that's yeah, he's gonna play second Eidolon, and we're no, oh yeah, he helixes us. Yeah, he plays second Eidolon, and we scoop. There's just no coming back from this. I mean, what can we possibly draw at this point in the game? Not a lot. He just kind of sits there and waits for us to die. We can't cast any spells, and we can't really attack into his board, or he just kills us on the crackback. So yeah, that's game 2 for you. We had, unfortunately, I think we played game 1 really well. I think we even played this game pretty well. But the mull to 5 was pretty unfortunate and not something we can typically come back from, especially you saw here with Lurrus. Even nerfed, he can just punish you for mulligans. And that's what we saw here. So we'll see you in the next game. Alright guys, here we are for game 1 of match 3, and this looks like a fine keep. We have nothing to do on turn 2, but we're on the play and we get to Inquisition our opponent. We hoped our opponent mulliganed. They do not. They keep 7. We Inquisition. So we see Cleansing Wildfire, Helix, Remand. So this is that new Jeskai Conundrum deck. So they want to play Confounding Conundrum and then start Cleansing Wildfiring you. If you want to grab a land, then you're going to have to bounce a land. Deck's pretty sweet. It's a cool one. But given the fabric of our hand, we decide to let them keep that Cleansing Wildfire, and we just take a remand. We want to push through these things and resolve a Liliana. This is, at its heart, a control deck, and Liliana is pretty good in those matchups. So yeah, we take the remand. Opponent plays Flooded Strand, passes the turn. Here we draw Tarmogoyf, so that's our thing to do on turn 2. And we get to curve out here. Inquisition into Tarmogoyf, into Liliana, into Bloodbraid Elf. You got to love it. Opponent fetches for their Triome. They play Snow-Covered Island, and they're going to Cleansing Wildfire us. We don't really care. I think they're just trying to redraw. But they let down Remand, which I think is kind of a misplay here, because now we get to just slime this Lily. Discard our, I believe our Mountain, which in hindsight, probably a misplay, because if they play Conundrum, then it makes the Bloodstained Mire really awkward. Regardless, that's what we did. We attack with the Tarmogoyf, pass back. So opponent's going to Wildfire our Blackcleave Cliffs. We're just going to grab a Forest here and pass back. So here we discard our Bloodstained Mire. Play our Verdant Catacombs. Cast. Unfortunately hit a Maelstrom Pulse, which is basically a miss. I don't feel like pulsing my Liliana the Veil for the sake of growing my Tarmogoyf, so we attack. They play a Conundrum. It's going to draw them a card. Not 100% sure how I feel about this card, but it's definitely pretty cool. Opponent's going to Wildfire us now. So we just grab a land and pass back. These Wildfires not doing a lot of work for the opponent. We get to Decay the Conundrum. We're both going to discard, so Decay obviously really nutty top deck. Pass back to the opponent. You're going to play Mystic Sanctuary, grabbing back Wildfire. I'm not sure that I would do that. I feel like our opponent needs a way to deal with our creatures on the board and not really worry about Wildfiring us anymore. We go to attack. Sorry, pardon. We move to combat. And they tap down our creatures, bounce our Liliana. So here we just replay our Liliana. and discard our Terminate here. I'm not sure what our opponent has left in hand. I've kind of stopped tracking it. So they field us. We have no basics to speak of. But again, we just need our creatures to survive. He's going to Wildfire, redraw, try to draw like a path that kills 2 creatures. That doesn't exist, so that's game 1 for you, and we'll see you in game 2. Alright guys, here we are for game 2 in match 3 against Jeskai Conundrum, and we have cut 2 push, 1 terminate. I'm not sure that they play any creatures, so so those are pretty obvious cuts. We cut 1 Scavenging Ooze and a Lightning Bolt. We've brought in 2 Boil, 2 Spellbomb, and 1 Collective Brutality. Looking back, I'm not sure how much I value Collective Brutality. It might have been better to just keep the Ooze in as a threat and a way to mess with the graveyard, but it's probably fine. You can go either way. Also, Huntmaster, I think, is considerable as it makes 2 bodies. If you can land it and just start flipping it back and forth, that's really good against in grindy matchups like that. So considerable. So this hand's pretty unexciting. Yeah, this hand's pretty unexciting. On the draw, we do decide to mulligan. You could easily keep this. It's just I'm looking for like hand disruption, right? So yeah, this is more of what I'm looking for. I want to be able to cast Inquisition, clear the way for our threats. So we keep this and we bottom the Ravine. He's just going to Wildfire us anyway. Thoughtseize is a fine draw. Fetch. Our Blood Crypt and Inquisition our opponent. So we see double path, Aether Gust, Force of Negation. So without the Conundrum, I'm actually not particularly scared of these Path to Exiles. I think making him path us in the early game is pretty good. So we decided, we talked it over a little bit and decided to take this Aether Gust. It also makes his Pact of Negation, or not Pact of Negation, pardon, Force of Negation worse. So yeah, we take the Gust. The Gust is a little scarier. The Time Walk effect of it is quite real. Opponent plays a Triome, plays a Flagstones, and obviously just like top decks the Conundrum. That Thoughtseize bug. I guess that's not Thoughtseize bug. What am I talking about? We didn't take Conundrum, replay Conundrum. Anyway, so here we're just going to play the Tarmogoyf. Pretty obvious. We got to get the clock down. So we serve at the Tarmogoyf first. If he paths us, we just don't play a land. We're going to Thoughtseize him. So he's going to path the Goyf in response, I believe. Oh no, so we take the path and then he paths the Goyf. So here we play fetch land, pass back. He's going to path the Goyf, and then we just bounce our fetch land back. Yeah, which is fine. We got to play, we got our land drop for turn, essentially, is the way it worked out. Opponent plays another Flagstones, cycling first Flagstones, or effectively. So here we discard our crappy fetch lands, and we draw Boil, Bloodbraid Elf, and another Tarmogoyf. Or we already had Tarmogoyf, pardon. Our hand is Boil, Bloodbraid Elf. What we drew. So opponent, not sure exactly what they're trying to ramp into. I'm not super familiar with this deck, but he does elect to Wildfire himself. So he's got the Flagstones trigger allows him to grab 2 lands, basically, because the Wildfire grabs a land, draws him a card, and then the Flagstones exiting grabs him another land. We draw Verdant Catacombs, Verdant Catacombs for turn. We're going to Bloodbraid Elf first. We know that our opponent's got Force Negation in hand. And we hit Liliana the Veil, He's going to put Wildfire on top. And this Lily is going to eat a Force Negation, which is totally fine because the goal here when your opponent is ramping out is definitely to boil them. There's another Flagstones. He's going to Cleansing Wildfire himself again, which, I mean, sure. I guess he's just looking for something to do, like a Wrath or something. That was probably more for the redraw. But in any case, here we just serve for 5, and he's going to Helix us, and we're going to force him to have another counterspell. We're going to get him with the Boil on his upkeep. It works out. Obviously, we feel like fucking geniuses, and our opponent concedes. So that was match 3 for you. Hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you in the next match. Alright guys, here we are for match 4, and in the dark, this looks like a keep. We've got Wrenn and Six, Liliana, Terminate. So we've got Terminate to protect our Planeswalkers, Planeswalkers to generate some value and provide us a way of winning the game. So here we lead on a Verdant Catacombs, so we can potentially save some life on a more painless fetch. We do exactly that, and it looks like our opponent is on a deck that I've seen called Oops All Spells. So they play, basically the way this deck works is, they play these new Zendikar Rising spell lands, so they count as spells until you elect to play them as a land. And they play, I'm going to mispronounce it, it's like something Spy. I'm not even going to try. They play the Spy that lets you mill your entire deck because you're not playing any lands. And then they win off like a bunch of different triggers, including Vengevine and Creeping Chill. Pardon. So anyway, now our hand's not as good. We Wrenn and Six, buy back this Verdant Catacombs, so we're a little slow. Terminate is not going to do anything. So yeah, our opponent plays another land and a Talisman, and we draw a Tarmogoyf, so we're absolutely going to play Tarmogoyf here. We just need to get a clock down. We go Raging Ravine. Yeah, we just need to start trying to beat up our opponent. Liliana Veil's not going to do anything. And I, for one, just absolutely hate these decks. This style of deck where it's like, it's basically a one-card combo. Yeah, so here it is. So he has the Spy. So our opponent plays 2 spells all game. They're like, I will ramp and then play my... And I mean, you know, if people have fun playing these decks, that's fine. I think that these are incredibly uninteresting. So it says when it enters the battlefield, target player reveals cards from the top of the library, reveals cards, blah, blah, blah. So until he hits a land, he doesn't play lands. So he's going to put his entire graveyard, or his entire library rather, into his graveyard. So now we get to see what's up. Please. It's not working. Okay, pardon the replay. So yeah, he puts his entire graveyard, his library into his graveyard, pardon. It's really difficult to talk, guys. He gets these Narcomoeba triggers, he gets a Creeping Chill triggers, and then basically how it works is the Narcomoebas are going to trigger the Sword of the Meeks, and then he can sacrifice the Sword of the Meeks to the Salvage Titan, which will trigger Vengevines, all 4 of his Vengevines. Who hits us for 3, 6, 9, 12 Creeping Chill damage, and then puts 4 Vengevines into play on turn 2, and we die. So that's match 1 for you. And we will see you in game 2. Alright guys, here we are for game 2 in match 4, and our sideboarding, I really like it, it's pretty sweet. We brought in a 3 Wildfire to punish our opponent for not playing any lands. So Wildfire in this matchup is just better than Sinkhole. It's a Sinkhole that draws us a card. It's pretty insane. And then we brought in 2 Spellbombs. So Spellbomb, basically, he can't win with a Spellbomb in play. If he tries to go off, we crack our Spellbomb and just empty his graveyard. So yeah, he has to deal with Spellbomb before he can try and win. and Wildfire is basically Sinkhole. We cut push, 1 Terminate, and the two of our 3 Wrenn and Six. And let's see what we've got here. We've got 1 Wildfire, a bunch of lands, Tarmogoyf. So on the draw, I would definitely not keep this, but on the play, I think it's quite reasonable. We've got Cleansing Wildfire, can Stone Rain him, and with backup from Kolaghan's command, we can just stop him from ever being able to cast those important spells. And as long as we draw well, we can get there. So we play Raging Ravine and we pass. Okay. Opponent plays a spell land. We're going to Cleansing Wildfire it away. Pass back. Opponent plays another spell land. We draw Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize, great draw here. Let's see what he's got going on. So he's got Charbelcher, Creeping Chill, Vengevine. Those are great cards for him to have in hand. Creeping Chill and Vengevine. Undercity Informer, a Talisman, a Simian Spirit Guide, Charbelcher. So, with K-Command in hand, we let him keep the Talisman, and we decide to take this Undercity Informer. And we'll pass back. Or we'll play Tarmogoyf first, and then pass back. Okay, opponent shocks into another land, plays his Talisman. And here, we draw another K-Command, so we're going to K-Command, destroy the Talisman, and shock him. The reason we're not going to make him discard is because he's just going to discard this Vengevine and then potentially bring it back. We don't want to get clowned like that. So we're going to shock him, fetch, grow this Goyf by destroying the Talisman and putting these instants in play. And we're actually just going to main phase bolt him. The reason being is because we put him at exactly 7 and then 5/7 so we can kill him next turn. Some math. I'm not good at math. Someone else is. But yeah, we get to potentially kill him next turn. So we make him answer the Goyf. These decks don't answer Tarmogoyf. They die to them. So we hit him again, and that's game. So we will see you in game 3. Guys, here we are for game 3 of match 4, and you'll notice the Ashiok is here. I did not lie the first time. We just brought it in for game 3. We cut Wrenn and Six. Wrenn and Six number 3 decided that it wasn't worth having him to smooth out the mana, and Ashiok can potentially mill over their win conditions. So it's kind of cute, but Wrenn and Six we thought just did nothing. So we brought in the Ashiok. We had to mull, obviously, the no-lander. Here, I don't want to mull to 5 when we've got Inquisition. So we bought him a Forest, hope to draw a threat. Want to play his Seagate. We're going to Inquisition him right away. We drew a Spellbomb, by the way. Spellbomb's absolutely fire draw. Love drawing Spellbomb there. And we got to take that Thoughtseize to protect our Nihil Spellbomb. So opponent plays a Talisman. We play a Spellbomb. Pass back. So yeah, I know our opponent didn't have black mana in that window. So we could have got away. We could have got away with taking something else and just playing the Spellbomb anyway. But it's just, this card's so good in the matchup, it's not worth it. Like, this card says that, here we don't draw the Maelstrom Pulse. I don't think we ever do. But we were joking about drawing the Maelstrom Pulse and how just easy clap, draw Maelstrom Pulse, win game. It didn't happen. There's Overgrown Tomb, and here we just play Ashiok, and we do that cute thing we were talking about, where we minus and try to hit some win cons, and we do pretty well. We hit a Vengevine and a Charbelcher. 2 Simian Spirit Guides, not as impressive of hits, but regardless. They play another, they play Pentite Prism, so we just have to hope that they don't hit combo, or well, we have the Spellbomb anyway, but anyway. We are going to Ashiok them again, and we hit 2 spies, which is excellent. Really stop playing like this prison game here between the Spellbomb and the Ashiok, taking away the win cons. We hit him again, and we hit another spy and a Creeping Chill, making it very, very difficult for our opponent to be able to combo. So there's an Archamoeba, and they just hit us with a Creeping Chill. Fetch Overgrown Tomb, Lily, good draw. Plus a Lily here. Before we minus Ashiok, they discard Simian Spirit Guide. We're going to hit him again. We hit 2 Creeping Chills and a Vengevine and an Archamoeba, so excellent hits. Solid performance here from our friend Ashiok. Okay, he is going to attack the Ash. We protect it with the Lightning Bolt so she can minus again. And we, her least impressive hit, but regardless, she did a lot of work there. Thank you, Ashiok. Here we play land, cast Seasoned Pyromancer. We're going to draw, discard this Bloodstained Mire and hold up a Lightning Bolt. Pass back. So here our opponent plays Salvage Titan out of hand. I'm going to fetch here to thin. Make him sack the Salvage Titan and attack with the Seasoned Pyromancer. So here on their end step, I decided to Nihil Spellbomb them. Oh, and I should also mention that the chat at this point, I was unable to hear them. So if I make any misplays, they're all on me at this point. We Spellbomb them. One, just to find a threat. To try to end this game in a hurry, because I'm starting to think at this point that they might not even be, and totally correct me in the chat if I'm missing something, but I feel like at this point they're not even able to win anymore with all the win cons that we've milled over. So I feel pretty confident about what's going on here. So I crack that Spellbomb, looking for some more action. Discard. Attack with the Seasoned Pyromancer. Or at least they're not going to be able to win with their graveyard. They're just going to have to cast a really terrible draft on commons. So Lily, discard, swamp. Play Goyf, and attack for 2. Yeah, for the rest of the game, our opponent basically does nothing at all. Like, yeah, he hits the Undercity Informer. It doesn't matter because we've got the Edict effect. We attack for that many. We bolt them, and the game is over. All right, so yeah, I just really I don't like these decks at all, because you saw in game 1 he just like nuttered us, and we had no answer to it. You just had the combo. And then in every other game where we knew what we were playing against and how to interact with him, he wasn't able to do anything at all. Yeah. So I personally don't find these that manner of deck particularly interesting, but I don't know. Play what you like, I guess. All right, guys, here we are for match 5, and this one's going to be all right. So we keep this hand. This hand's obviously sweet. We've got push, Thoughtseize, push and Thoughtseize, 2 different points of interaction. We've got Wrenn and Six as a way to win the game and generate card advantage. And yeah, this looks good. We're on the draw. And I'll just remind you, at this point, I could not really interact with the Discord at all, so this is all me. So any weird plays you see, I gotta take full responsibility for on this one. So we Thoughtseize our opponent. We see, oh, sorry, a little faster. We took the Wrenn and Six. We see Bloodchief's Thirst, which I considered for a moment, but it's just better to take their Wrenn and Six, especially on the draw. but it can 1-for-1 deal with our Wrenn and Six. So we take the Bloodcheese Thirst, or sorry, rather we let them keep it over the Wrenn and Six. They've also got to push a Factor Fiction, which we hope to draw Thoughtseize for. That card's very, very strong against us. Watery Grave and Polluted Delta. So we're against some sort of Sultai Uro Pile. Great. So we pass back to our opponent. Opponent plays Polluted Delta and passes back. So here, I decide, little controversial here. We know he's got the thirst, but I'm gonna just decided to just jam this Wrenn and Six. And I mean, I hope he doesn't have a counterspell here to counter it. But if he does, then that's fine because he's got the thirst anyway. And also, we pick up this land. We make him cast the thirst on his turn. Oh, I mean, he has to anyway. But we make him spend his mana on his turn as opposed to like playing something like Uro. And we get our value out of Wrenn and Six. So we get to pick up this Wooded Foothills. He does Bloodchief Thirst it, but it is value positive. So we got to take his card and net a land. We draw Liliana the Veil, which is obviously a great top deck. So we end up plussing Lily and pitching one of our 3 lands. Yeah, it's the Wooded Foothills, typically our worst fetch land. Pass back, our opponent plays Snow-Covered Island, passes back to us, so we know of the Factor Fiction, we know of the Fatal Push, and he has an Unknown. So here, we draw Inquisition, which is pretty solid. We're going to Inquisition, take away the push. We see his draw for turn was Cryptic Command. So, a land I'm going to plus. Now this is going to prompt action from our opponent. So he's either going to play the Cryptic Command and bounce a Lily draw card, which is not as likely, or he's going to play the Factor Fiction and do the Factor Fiction thing. Either way, we get to respond by casting K Command and nipping the other one. So that's exactly what we're going to do. I mean, at the end of the day, he gets to cast Factor Fiction, and that's obviously really bad for us, but at least we can nip a good card out of his hand in the form of Cryptic Command. So I mulled over this for a while. I wasn't sure exactly what to do here, and you'll see me just like moving things around thinking. I spent a lot of time doing it. But in the end, I decide to take the 2 better cards, which is Cryptic Command and Field of Ruin, or Field of the Dead, pardon. It is so difficult to speak. So yeah, we put the 2 better cards in the pile, just when in doubt, right? Lily's going to make us discard, so we're each going to discard a land. I think does he discard the Palace here? No, he discards Misty Rainforest. Palace, kind of cool tech. With Field of the Dead. Yeah, really awkward because he's got that Polluted Delta and he could just buy back the Cryptic Command anyway, but at least we got rid of the Field of the Dead. At this point, I'm not sure if he's playing any way to reoccur it, but he doesn't have that now. So anyway, he plays the Delta. He's got Palace Unknown. We draw Bloodbraid Elf, obviously a great draw here. We're going to plus Lily, discard this Fatal Push, slam this Bloodbraid Elf, and see what we hit. Cascade. We hit Inquisition. Inquisition's obviously going to miss. He's going to put Factor Fiction back on top, and it's going to be a Nightmare. Oh, yeah, that's right. He had the second card. That's right. So yeah, my apologies for mistracking his hand. We do get to take Fatal Push, which is a lot better than taking nothing. Actually, particularly good because he would have been able to kill our Bloodbraid Elf had we not hit the Inquisition. But anyway, opponent casts Factor Fiction. We put the 2 spells in one pile and the lands in the other. We've got Liliana Ultimate online. So again, we thought about the best way to do this for a little bit, And I separated the two triomes. I believe... I took the better of the triomes and separated it from the Field of the Dead. So now his mana is like really, really awkward. We hit him for 3. Plays Field of Ruin, Assassin's Trophy. I guess he's just trying to have like an efficient turn here. But should have waited for our turn because we get to K command, make him discard, and return Bloodbraid Elf. So now he's got an empty hand. We get to Cascade again. Hold on to this. We hit Bloodbraid Elf, so we discard Inquisition. And we kick this green up in case we hit Scavenging Ooze, which would be pretty good for just stopping Uro shenanigans. And I remember actually saying out loud, now just don't play Uro. And lo and behold, Uro, which is always how these decks kind of weasel out of these situations where they're supposed to get beat down. But instead they play this stupid Uro card. But whatever he top deck was not good enough to defeat our Bloodbraid Elf. I think if I were my opponent, I would have waited one more turn, right? I have no idea. Because even if... I guess there's the pressure from the Lily ultimate. I mean, we were definitely favored to win, but if next turn he, say, like, hit an Uro, or... he can't cast Cryptic Command either. I'm not sure what our opponent had, but anyway, that's game 1 for you, and we'll see you in game 2. Alright guys, here we are in game 2, and out is 2 Tarmogoyf, 3 Bolt, and a Cliffs. I like to cut some number of Tarmogoyf in these matchups. They just don't line up against what our opponent's doing like particularly well. I like to try to outgrind them and win with boils. That's kind of my approach. We cut 2 Goyf, 3 Bolt, 1 Cliffs, because I don't want to flood. And I brought in the 2 Boil, the 2 Spellbomb, and the 2 Ashiok. So the Ashiok and the Spellbombs kind of make sure that we can deal with Uro. And the Boils boil down their land. So the only way that these decks can really win the game is via Field of the Dead and Uro. So we're just going to try to stifle their ways of winning and just try to beat down with Bloodbraid Elf and Raging Ravine and whatever we can get. And speaking of Bloodbraid Elf, now keeping this hand, which I did, is pretty debatable. But I did it for you guys. I'm telling you, I did it for you guys. I did it for the Discord chat watching, and because like, how often do you get to just cast 3 Bloodbraid Elves in a row, right? It's like, we could keep a good hand, we could mulligan for a better hand, or we could just get there, and it'll be awesome, right? Right? Anyway, if this was a more serious setting, I would have thought about this a little bit more, but I was like, nope. 3 Bloodbraid Elf, we're going to get there. We just need to draw a fetch land, our Wrenn and Six. I just believe in the dream. We draw Maelstrom Pulse, feel a little less confident, play Overgrown Tomb, and pass the turn. Opponent's going to fetch. They grab their Triome. These Triomes are really sweet in this deck. They fix up the mana and are also an island for Mystic Sanctuary. And Uro buys them all the time in the world. So, we don't draw our land, but... we draw our 4th Bloodbraid Elf. So now I just believe. I just believe that this is gonna work out. We are gonna cast 4 Bloodbraid Elf in a row. Our opponent's gonna do absolutely nothing, and it's gonna be unbelievably awesome content. So our opponent draws a remand, hits our Wrenn and Six. We pass back. Our opponent plays Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. So that feels bad. The remand into Uro is obviously really good for them. And boom, we draw the fetch line because I told you we would draw the fetch line. I knew this was coming. I knew it all along. This Wrenn and Six is going to resolve because it just is, right? Oh, yeah. We pick up the Bloodstained Mire. And the dream is alive. So, the plan is cast 4 Bloodbraid Elf, and it's going to be mint. Opponent casts a Cling to Dust to get that land out of our graveyard, stifle our Wrenn and Six's ability, essentially. So again, getting a little nervous. And opponent escapes Uro. All right, so the plan, I know it's going to happen. We're going to draw land, right? We're going to Cascade. We're going to hit Liliana the Veil, and our opponent's not going to have a counterspell. Boom. Step 1, right? Fetch. Okay, there's our Overgrown Tomb. And you guys won't believe what happens. We cast our Bloodbraid Elf, as opposed to just terminating the Uro, right? We do the incredibly irresponsible thing. And, you ready for this? Replay. Come on. We get punished. We get punished. We hit another Wrenn and Six. We do cast it, because it can grow future Tarmogoyfs. We get maximum punished. It doesn't end here. We're like, all right, we better protect this Wrenn and Six, so we can cast our other 3 Bloodbraid Elves, right? We're gonna get there. We're gonna value grind our opponent. We're gonna draw Boil. It's gonna be legendary. Opponents just got Fatal Push, pushes the Bloodbraid Elf. We're gonna just skip through their turn here. Let's just fast track through their turn. They attack into our Wrenn and Six, take him off the board, make 2 zombie tokens. We cast a Bloodbraid Elf. Oh. What happened there? Oh, yes. We Bloodbraid Elf into a Thoughtseize. What did they have in hand? Oh, yes. They let the Thoughtseize resolve, and we take a push. They Growth Spiral, make more zombies. It's all just really bad. We are getting deservingly punished. He attacks us for a whole bunch. And we die. Never getting to cast our other 2 Bloodbraid Elves, dying with this dream. And we'll see you for the next game. Alright guys, and here we are for the final match of the league. We're going for the 4-1 here in game 3. And we decide to keep this hand. No quadruple Bloodbraid Elf dream hand. That doesn't work out. Just a regular good old Jun hand. And I think this is pretty solid. We've got Inquisition to interact with them a little bit. We've got Spellbomb to keep those Uros at bay. We've got Liliana of the Veil to apply some sort of pressure as a way to win the game. And yeah, we're going to keep this hand. And this game, I'm not going to lie, it goes on for a while. And for those of you who stick with it, it's a pretty fun conclusion. But anyway, Inquisition, pretty easy take of that W6. Opponent leads on the Triome. Ketra. Sure. Play Blackcleave Cliffs. Spellbomb. Pass the turn. We're just going to try to hold up the Spellbomb for as long as possible. Try to get as many cards out of the graveyard as we can. So here, they did represent, like, we saw Remand. We didn't see Mana Leak, but we saw Remand. Opponent shocks in a Watery Grave. But we just got to work through that sort of thing. So I'll totally get Remand here. So we cast Liliana the Veil. And our opponent responds by clinging. And I'm not sure if this was off the top or not, but he does get to force our Lily, sadly. And we pass back. This opponent plays a tapped Breeding Pool, and we draw a Seasoned Pyromancer, pretty good. We get to discard these crappy lands and draw some spells, and we do that. We do exactly that. Terminate being a little less impressive. I'm not really concerned with having access to Terminate when we have Spellbomb up, because that means Uro is a while from being able to threaten us, but regardless, that is what we drew. We pass back to our opponent. They're going to play a Field of Ruin. Looks like they're going to field us now. We grab a Forest, and I believe they pass back. Yeah, that's their end step. So now on our turn, we draw land, and we're going to start with this Inquisition. Opponent Veil of Summers us, which feels bad. The old 1-mana Cryptic Command. It's a perfectly reasonable card in Modern. Anyone that will argue that, I just don't get it. Like, what's wrong with having a 1-mana Cryptic Command in green? What part of that sentence bothers you? So, opponent plays Polluted Delta. That was sarcasm, by the way, just to clarify. And here, we are going to fetch and pass the turn. Simply pass the turn. That was that turn. Sorry. Next turn, a thing happens, I think. So, we serve with Seasoned Pyromancer. Our opponent's going to do nothing about it. We play a Blood Crypt and pass the turn. Sorry, replay's a little finicky right now. So opponent's going to cling our Stomping Ground for redraw, crack his Polluted Delta, pass back, Mystic Sanctuary. I think I missed what he picked up. Was it Fatal Push? Anyway, I say Fatal Push because, well, you know what? I'm not going to leave spoilers. Let's attack for 2. So he Cryptic Commands. He casts Cryptic Command, bouncing his Sanctuary, targeting our Seasoned Pyromancer with Fatal Push. My initial thought to this is, all right, that's fine. I've got this K command in the back. It's all Gouda. So he goes Mystic Sanctuary, targeting Cryptic Command. Now this is going to prompt me to crack my Spellbomb. I just don't want to fight through this many Cryptic Commands. I can't deal with this loop. It's not something that the Jund deck can reasonably beat. So get it while the getting's good. Hit him with that Spellbomb. And here we go for a Kolaghan's command. You discard, I'll pick up Seasoned Pyromancer. And he gets to Veil Summer 1/2 of that effect. We still get to pick up the Seasoned Pyromancer because it's not targeting him. It doesn't counter the entire spell. It just makes it so he's hexproof. It's not literal Cryptic Command. So yeah, let's Inquisition our opponent. He does not have another Veil of Summer. That's crazy. But we get to Inquisition him. Take his Fatal Push. He's got 1, 2, 3. Sorry, let's track his hand properly. So we can. He's got Forest, Polluted Delta, Mystic Sanctuary in hand. So we're feeling pretty good. And I think I said something really, really terrible out loud. I believe my exact words were, "Now just don't peel Uro." Yep. So one thing that I've learned about playing against Uro is don't say that out loud. Like, you can think it in your head, and that's fine, but don't say it out loud. Because it will happen. There's something out there, and it can hear you. I'm not crazy. Opponent censors, cracks Polluted Delta. This is so he can be able to escape the Uro. Bear with me on this replay here. So yeah, he plays Uro and everything, and I feel pretty hopeless at this point, to be honest. It's just a ton of value. I know that we have answers in hand, but with opponent at 16, sorry, this is the moment of hopelessness feeling. They hit. We know they have lands in hand. They hit this Field of the Dead. They've got an Uro in hand. We have answers, but this is a very, very bad position. So we draw Abrupt Decay. Pretty solid. We just fire off the Abrupt Decay. The Uro has to go, right? And I believe I just play a Tarmogoyf here. in hindsight, it might have actually been a good idea to serve with the Seasoned Pyromancer. My thought was maybe I could like draw a pulse next turn and then be able to attack for more, or I'm not sure what I was thinking at the time. I was a little distraught. I was a little tilted, to be honest. Especially keep in mind, I have people watching me, but they can't give me any advice. Something weird going with the sound on my end. Anyway, we send in the Tarmogoyf. I'm looking for him to triple block it, which he does. So now we can bolt a zombie, take 3 off the table. This is still just a ridiculous uphill battle, though, right? He's got the Wrenn and Six, so he's going to be able to make zombies every single turn of the game. Now, with the Wrenn and Six, in hindsight, now that I think about it, which is what in hindsight means, it might have been a good idea to terminate that Uro instead of Abrupt Decay, as now he's got this Wrenn and Six in play that we can't deal with. So Wrenn and Six upticks. He's gonna grab a land, make a zombie. We draw Ashiok. So my thought was, okay, if we can resolve this Ashiok, he's at 29 cards. We've still got another Ashiok in our deck. It might actually not be incredibly unrealistic to mill him, and if nothing else, Ashiok can like just get rid of this Uro. So I was like, this wasn't the worst top deck in the world. But unfortunately, yeah, our opponent has a Force of Negation. So, Ashiok goes away. We serve with the Tarmogoyf at the Wrenn and Six. He's going to block with the zombie. We eat that zombie. And again, probably a misplay. I wanted to hold on to this Terminate to deal with the Uro when it came back, but it's so far away from coming back. I should have definitely terminated that zombie and attacked the Wrenn and Six with the Tarmogoyf. That was a great opportunity to do that. Huge misstep for me. But yeah, we here we're like, okay, well, it's time. We're gonna Edict, Terminate, do that thing we were supposed to have done already. Take this Wrenn and Six off the table. Pass back. So he's gonna make a zombie token, 2 zombie tokens. Now he's got a second Field of the Dead. Feels real bad. We draw Bloodbraid Elf. I decide to cast the Bloodbraid Elf without upticking the Liliana, and lo and behold, we hit another Liliana. We discard this Wrenn and Six anyway. So like in the end, it doesn't actually make a difference because we just either way end up discarding this Wrenn and Six. I suppose we could have discarded the Wrenn and Six and then also edicted a token, but I think this is fine. We attack. Lily Alt is probably too slow for the amount of time we have on the clock. Keep in mind, our time on the clock, it's important because it affects the way that I play. Not always, but definitely in this case. So we draw another Ashiok here, which would be a little more exciting if our first one was able to do any amount of work, because then they would have actually been in range of dying to it. But that's not the case. In any case, we're going to minus the Ashiok. Pass back to the opponent, and what does our opponent do? I don't remember. Oh yeah, they Blood Chiefs, Thirst our Liliana. They're going to swing with Team. Is it at Ashiok? Yeah, it's at Ashiok. I guess they're a little concerned with their library themselves. We draw Boil. We draw Boil. That's so exciting, right? So now I'm like, okay, this Tarmogoyf is respectable. We're gonna start serving with it. Start trying to end this game. Oh no, not yet. I take that back. Yeah, we boil him on. We boil him during his upkeep. So that takes him well off of Field of the Dead. And our opponent punts here. They fetch with the Ashiok in play, which is beautiful. Big oof from the opponent. So that takes him down even more. Here I'm like, all right, now it's time. So we hit him with the Ashiok one more time. We send in the Goyf, and maybe I should have left back the Ashiok. But I just wanted to see if we could mill over any win conditions or anything like that. That's probably not the play, though. I probably should have kept it in hand to stop him from being able to crack a fetch land, and additionally pressuring him into attacking it. Because, yeah, now see, he's got that fetch land. So we push the Snapcaster over the zombie, just because we do play Maelstrom Pulse in our deck. But then we draw the Wrenn and Six. Which, again, it's like one or the other, right? Like, so we attack with the Goyf. He's got a block. We pass back. He can't quite start creating zombies yet. Wrenn and Six grabs the Wooded Foothills, and now the pressure is really on. There's only 54 seconds on my clock, you can see, and we start misplaying. In, like, not super significant. Like, we forget to activate our Wrenn and Six. And I mean, that might even have saved us in that it takes time just to, like, do these clicks. But anyway, I'm laser focused on just trying to kill our opponent. So we flashback the Seasoned Pyromancer, or not flashback, rather activate its ability to make these tokens. We attack with the tokens. This time, we do remember that our Wrenn and Six has text on it. We ping him for 1. So now he's got to deal with the tokens and the Wrenn and Six, and miracles do happen. We get to steal this game with only 19 seconds left, which is plenty of time to click. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that ridiculous game. And if you enjoyed this content, please consider subscribing to the channel. Subscribe to Grim Flayer MTG. I'm going to put his channel in the description below. And thanks again for watching, guys. Take care.